So you've heard lots of stories, but today's story is about the very foundation beneath everything I do here with you. Here we go.
This is your life, no one else has gotta live it. This is your fight that only you can win.
Hey guys, it's Darienne here, and we are right now going to do the last of the In the Flesh series for now. Today I'm going to talk to you about the one story. It's sort of a lot of stories all put together, but it's the one story that really is the basis of every single thing that I do with you guys. It's the basis of almost who I am as a human being on this earth. So basically it starts with me at 13 actually, and starting to suffer with depression. So I went into a deep depression. Life sort of crashed all around me. And for years, I was put through the mental health system, inpatient and outpatient. I struggled with drugs and alcohol and really being defined by men and my relationship and sex and all of that. And so as the years went by, when I was around 24 years old, just before I think my real true spiritual awakening, actually this might have been just after, it was around that same time that I had like the spiritual awakening where I woke up to another dimension of life. And this really was sort of like a catalyst or a prerequisite to that. And it was really the most empowering moment of my life and what I teach from. So once I hit 24, I remember, being back on the bathroom floor of the home that I grew up in. I had been homeless for 6 months. I was completely out of money. I had a 5-year-old daughter, almost 5-year-old daughter at the time. I had a really, really big drinking problem. And not only did I have a drinking problem, I was drinking off of other people's dimes because I had no money. I had nothing. I had nothing to my name. I was living back at my father's house in the ghetto, sleeping on a love seat with my 5-year-old daughter. There were like mice in the house. The house was not good for a child to be living in. And the only place that I could have any privacy to express or feel my emotions was in the bathroom. So I remember finding myself on the bathroom floor, and I can't tell you how many times I've found myself curled up on the bathroom floor in my lifetime. And I was looking up at the window with this one glimmer of light sort of shining through in this dark bathroom, and I was in so much emotional pain. And I remember just like begging God to take me, like, please just put me out of my misery. I cannot take this anymore. And I think that in those moments, like, we tend to just cry so much that we find this space of like peace. It's like we release so much energy in those tears that we kind of like come to this space, when you're little and you come to the space of like almost forgetting why you were crying in the first place. So I was sort of getting to that place. And when you're in that, so I was releasing all of this resistance and sort of gaining these little bits of clarity where just sort of realizations came to me. And one of the realizations was that I looked back on my life and I realized, wow, since I was 13 years old, so 11 years now, I have been doing this. I have been curled up on the bathroom floor, trying to fight the urge to cut myself, begging God to take me. I've attempted suicide so many times. I mean, I even landed in the hospital and it didn't work. Every single time it didn't work. And all that desperation and all that crying for help to all of my loved ones, no matter what they did to try to help me, it didn't work. And so in that moment, I realized that God wasn't going to take me. I realized that I was stuck here. And that moment of sort of clarity gave me enough strength to stand up and go over to the mirror and sort of splash my face with some cold water. And I sort of just realized that, you know, there was one thing that was decided for me, and that was that I was going to be here, that God just wasn't taking me. And it was a little depressing, but as I still started to just be in the moment and allow myself to release, I started to walk down the steps, and what came to me was that not only was God not going to take me, but that no one could save me, and nobody was coming to save me. And I think that all along, all these years, I'd been hoping for that God or someone that God was going to take me, or someone was going to come save me. And save me from my own pain, save me from my situation, save me from my current reality, my circumstance, save me from myself. And I realized that all of my loved ones that were trying to help me over the years, and some of them did it in really fucked up ways, and some of them did it in the best way they knew how, and I think all of them did it in the best way they knew how. And some of them did it out of frustration, and some out of love, and some did it in both ways. And regardless, none of it was help. None of it was making me happy. None of it was saving me from my own mental illness. And then I realized the most beautiful thing I could have ever realized in my life. As I started to walk down the steps, it was very dark when you walk down the steps in my father's house. And at the end, at the landing, the dining room was always this big bright room in the middle of the day. And so I like literally stepped out of the darkness and into the light. And as that happened, I remember saying, or having this realization or jolt of motivation within myself that said, well, I've got two options. One is to sit here and be in pain, and that's no longer a fucking option. So, okay, now I've got one option. So the option to kill myself wasn't there. The option to live in pain wasn't there. So the only option I had was to be fucking happy. It was to find my joy, and not just joy that's going to get me through the night, not just a drink, not just a guy, not just a relationship that's going to help me to escape my pain, not any of that, but something that was going to be lasting joy, something that was going to come from within me. And therein lied my quest for ultimate peace. You know, I'd already read The Secret. I think I was starting to read A Course in Miracles. I started to read The Power of Now, and that's what created by Eckhart Tolle. That's what really created and opened myself up to have a spiritual awakening. But that quest for ultimate peace, that was it. It was like, okay, I am fucking here, and I'm gonna have to make the fucking best of it. And it was such a beautifully liberating thing to finally have the realization that death was not an option. And when I took that off the table, I was left with pain or get your shit together. It was like, live in this pain or fucking figure this shit out. And for me, because death in my mind for so long was always an option, that was the option I would rather have over pain. And I think I know that that's why people commit suicide. It's not because they want to die. It's not because they want to no longer live life anymore. It's because in their minds, there's only two options, and it is live in this pain or fucking die. And living in the pain is not a fucking option. And for me, when you took death off the table, the two options became live in the pain or find some fucking joy, real joy, true joy, joy that was going to last forever. And so that was the beautiful quest that began within me. This beautiful darkness that I lived in for so long, that rock bottom moment that catapulted me into a life of joy, For me, that's all I wanted was joy. It wasn't about finding God. It wasn't about finding spirituality. It wasn't about becoming the spiritual guru or starting a YouTube channel. It wasn't about any of that. It was about just being fucking happy. And I had lived so many years in a pain that was so excruciating, an emotional pain that was so excruciating that it became physical at times. It became absolutely debilitating. I could not function in life. I could not even get out of bed. At that time, it was the couch. I couldn't even get off the couch. And if I did, it was to go to the bathroom to bawl my eyes out. I mean, I was in so much fucking pain, and there are millions and millions and millions of people in that pain. But for me, it was such a blessing to have tried to commit suicide for so many years unsuccessfully, and tried to cry for help for so many years unsuccessfully, for me to finally realize that all of the answers were in me. And all I really needed was to experience that contrast, to get that jolt of motivation, inspiration, something to say. I don't give a shit if I have the power to be happy. I'm going to go fucking find it, because I cannot be in pain, and God is not taking me no matter how hard I try. It was a beautiful thing for me, and it made me realize that I have so much of a greater purpose here than even I know, because I wanted to escape that pain. I never wanted to die. I never wanted to leave this earth, but I wanted to escape the pain. And God showed me otherwise. And then God led me to you to show you that there are different options, that death doesn't have to be an option. That yeah, it's fucking hard, don't get me wrong. To go from depression to joy, it's a beautiful, but it's a fucking difficult path, especially at first. You're gonna fucking fall flat on your face, you're gonna land curled up back in your bed a lot. You're gonna beat yourself up, you're gonna feel like shit. It's gonna be a constant struggle from the familiarity of depression into the unknown joy that you don't even feel deserving of or really understand, because you've never felt really before. Or maybe you have as a child, but you don't really remember it, and you've been so conditioned to believe that it's not yours to have. And so it's a beautiful story to tell. It's a short story. Look at that. I told it in 15 minutes. But it's a powerful fucking story. And what I hope for you is to look at your own story, to look at your own moments, and know this for sure. And I hope that my story, sharing my story, leads you to have this understanding. Know this for sure, that whether you choose to be spiritual or be on a spiritual path or not, or you choose to follow the path of God or whatever, for me, that's not what it was about. I wasn't like, I'm going to find God because he's going to save me. No, it was not about that. Know that your spirit knows exactly what you need, and you are so supported. So for me, my soul needed to take me into the depths of depression, because in truth, I wanted to help the world. And I needed that. I needed that knowledge. I needed to be molded in such a way to be able to touch you in such a way that I want to connect with you in such a way. And also I had to be driven right into a brick wall to finally realize, A, that I'm stuck here. I sort of like gave up on giving up. For me, that's not funny, but it is. But I had to do that to realize that death was not an option for me. And for me, it was almost like, I don't get to cop out. I don't get to fucking cop out. I got to stay here in this fucking hellhole. That's what it felt like for me at the time. It didn't feel inspiring. It felt like, Jesus fucking Christ, I'm stuck here then. And then as I walked down those steps, literally from the darkness into the light, and I stepped into that light, it just clicked in my mind. It was like, I'm going to take every bit of strength that I don't even fucking know if I have or not. I don't give a shit. I'm going to take every bit of strength I know that is in my bones, and I'm going to drive it towards joy. And that determination, that perseverance, that drive, that focus, that is what the law of attraction asks for, you know? And so I was brought to these incredible experiences. I bought my first guitar, I quit drinking, I quit smoking, I quit having sex, I quit all my vices, right? I quit all the things that I thought made me who I was and all the things that I used to escape the pain, let's just be honest. And in doing that, little by little, I stepped more towards what I thought was right. I stepped more towards the light. Little by little, I didn't know what the fuck that meant. For me, I was stepping more towards joy. Wherever I thought my joy was, I stepped fucking towards it. It wasn't about God. It wasn't about spirituality. I didn't even have a relationship with God at the time. Let's just be honest. Like I did. It was a toxic relationship. It was a shitty relationship. And I was led to my dreams. I was led into, I was led to the right YouTubers to teach me how to do, train my vocals properly for free. I was led to the YouTubers that taught me how to play my guitar. I was led to the most beautiful relationship I have ever had in my entire life with a gorgeous man at the time. I was led into beautiful opportunities. I was led into being supported when my daughter's father committed suicide and being able to grieve gracefully. I was led into so many beautiful Spirit Junkie Masterclass. I won scholarships. I mean, over the years, things just got better and better and better and better. And yes, I've had my shitty times, We all go through ebbs and flows, but that transition out of the darkness and into my true light, where I really, for the first time, I was experiencing what it meant to live a life of joy, because I didn't know that. That was it. So that story, that is my story. That story is woven into my DNA, my flesh and bones, and that is the story that is behind every single thing I do for you, because I do not want you to suffer. That is why I have so much compassion for you. And that's also why I know that you're on the fucking right path and that you're powerful and that your spirit has got you. And that you don't need to be anything you think you need to be in order to be led to your joy, because it's not about God or spirituality or any of that. That's already who you are, right? Like you don't need to know any of that shit. It's just about joy. That's what life is about. And that's what I've realized. And when I chase my joy and what makes me happy and not, following the God I think I should follow or doing the correct meditations I think I should be doing every day, but just following the fucking joy. And it's like beautiful that I'm saying this because it's such a beautiful reminder for myself, but just following that joy always leads me in the right direction. And ultimately, we're all doing that. We're all following the joy. We're all just trying to be happy and relieved of the pain that we were in the past. And some of us go about it in the wrong way, and then it leads us into a brick wall and we're beautifully guided back. Or we're guided back home to heaven. And sometimes it goes that way, and we have to be okay with that, For me, it was woven into me. I knew deep within me that I was here to help the planet, and I still know that, and I think you guys know that. And that's why God didn't take me, because ultimately my spirit didn't want to go. Some spirits do, and that's okay too. But just know that if you have a deep desire to be here doing something beautiful, and if you know that you came here for a reason, then you'll be here. And know that everything that happens, it is for the purpose of your own joy. And everything that you chase, it's for the purpose of your own joy. Some people can do terrible, terrible things just because they think it will bring them joy or relieve them of the pain that they're in. And that's just what it is. I can't say it's okay or it's not. It's just what it is. We're all chasing joy. And that's where we can find oneness and unity in one another, is that we're all fucking chasing joy and trying to relieve ourselves of pain. Chasing joy and trying to relieve ourselves of pain. And that's it. That's all we're trying to do. And when you continue to lean towards joy, and that's what I did. I just leaned towards joy. I said, I don't know how to fucking find joy, but I'm just going to do this one thing that makes me happy, and this thing that makes me happy, and this thing I know is going to make me happy, and maybe I'll jump into those dreams that I always kind of wanted to do, and I'll do something a little crazy because it makes me happy, and I'll date a guy I never thought I would date before, And that ended up making me really fucking happy. And just doing things that maybe you haven't done before. Because all the shit you did before didn't fucking work. And that sometimes you just have to be in that space of like surrender. And just like, okay, everything I've ever done and everything I thought was good for me and everything I thought was going to bring me joy didn't ultimately in the end. So let's just do all of the opposite and hope that it works. And that's what I did. You know, I just did all the things I thought would bring me joy. And I knew that going to the bar and getting wasted wasn't it. Because I knew over years and years of doing it that waking up feeling like shit wasn't leaning towards my joy. I knew that smoking cigarettes was sabotaging my desire for my dreams of being a singer. I knew, you know, so you know, maybe you don't know it all. You don't have to know it all, but you know something. You know there's one thing that you could probably let go of in your life. And there's another thing that you could probably lean towards more of. You know that there's friends that you could probably hang out with a little bit more and friends you could probably hang out with a little bit less. And you know that job you probably shouldn't be working at. It's really not worth all the fucking drama. And you know that job, maybe if you take a pay cut, it's worth it because, not that I'm saying you should take a pay cut, but some people just feel that, like, this job doesn't pay as much, but it's in line with my joy, you know? So just take that next right step towards joy and you will be led there, okay? So I hope that this story inspired you today. I love you very much. And next week we are back to Freedom Friday. I cannot wait. We're also back in my room. I thought I'd give you a little taste. Remember Freedom Friday? Do you miss it? Because I do. I'll see you guys next week. I love you.
Well, I don't know if you'll be in my life ever again. I would be so lucky to see that smile light up your face.